Let's go over what I consider the 4 levels of electric guitar studio recording setups. Welcome to Sound Better Slider.
Level 1.
This is a direct input into virtual amplifiers. This is just your guitar plugged straight into your audio interface, which is connected to your computer, of course. If you need help with buying those two things, check out these videos, where you'll use amp simulator plugins to help you get your tone. Think of plugins like Neural DSP, Amplitude, Guitar Rig, Helix Native, or I like Nimbrini audio plugins lately, not to mention some Universal Audio plugins that are very good. The gear you need for this is simply your electric guitar, your audio interface with a built-in direct input, and a virtual amplifier plugin of some kind, or perhaps a whole suite of them. If you have a pedal board, you can keep that out in the real world, but of course there are virtual pedals as well. And lastly, you'll need some studio headphones or monitors to hear what you're doing. Let's talk about the pros and cons of this method. The first good thing is that it's quiet. It's perfect for apartment setups or late night recording where you don't have any sound isolation. You can have massively distorted guitar tones blaring through your headphones and bother nobody. And of course, this is the most affordable and portable way to do electric guitar recording. What are the cons? Well, you're always going to have purists out there who are going to tell you that it doesn't feel quite like a real amp, and they may be right. You're limited to the sound of your plugins, but like I said, there's a lot of plugins out there. So if you do get into the world of guitar amp plugins, there's plenty to be had. So for writing, for demoing, and even for full productions, this setup can sound really good when dialed in right.
Level 2.
Level 2 is a real amp recording, and I'm going to add a DI split in there. This is where we're bringing in the real amp sound, but I'm also recommending that you use a DI box to split your guitar signal into 2 paths. One goes directly into your interface and can be used just like we talked about for level 1, and the other goes into your amp so you can mic it up and get that real amplifier recording sound. You're recording 2 signals at once here, so it'll be flexible, but you want to make sure that your interface now has at least 2 inputs, one for the microphone, and you're going to need a mic pre on that interface to support that microphone recording, and your direct input. The gear you're going to need, of course, your electric guitar, a DI box with a through output, and I would recommend an active one, which is going to require phantom power. And we've got microphones. You're going to have to mic up that guitar amplifier somehow, like an SM57, or you can get fancier than that. You'll need a mic cable and a mic stand, of course, and like we said, an audio interface with at least 2 inputs. What are the pros of this? Well, you're going to get real amplifier tone. If you have a really good amplifier, then that's a good thing. If you don't have a great amplifier, not to worry. That's what your DI split is for, and you can possibly get a better sound with a plugin if you have a bad amplifier, but hopefully you have a good amplifier, and that way you can get 2 good tones. Blending your amp and your DI gives you creative options. It doesn't have to be just one single unified tone. You can pan things and make wide stereo guitar presence with both of your 2 signals. What are the cons of this? It is going to be louder if you're running your amp, which means you will need to either just deal with the volume or have some sort of sound isolation, because most amplifiers don't sound that great when they are turned down in volume. So there's going to be a sweet spot where you need to amp up your amp in order to get that good tone. The routing here is a little bit more complex, so you're going to have to do a little bit more on the audio engineering side, like create 2 tracks, run them in sync together, and be able to edit those tracks in sync. And of course, if you were getting by with a single input interface before, you have to add another interface that's going to handle at least those 2 signals at once. So this is a good middle ground, but let's move on to
Level 3.
With level 3, you're going to be looking at what's known as a load box and analog amp heads. This is where we're really getting a lot of tone control and still utilizing real guitar amplifiers, but we may be able to skip miking the cabinet here. So something like the Universal Audio aux box, the 2-Notes Captor, or the Sur Reactive Load, these devices safely absorb your amp's output and then provide either a cabinet simulation or a line level output that you can record directly and add a virtual cabinet simulation in the computer. You don't need a microphone here, but you do need some extra gear here, like the load box, and if you already have a good amplifier head, now you can put it to use without doing something very loud, which means you can skip the cabinet as we discussed. You're going to need cables, but this time you're also going to need a speaker cable because that connection between the load box and the amplifier, that's going to be a speaker cable. Whereas the connection from the load box to the interface, that might be a regular line level TRS 1/4-inch cable. Again, you need an audio interface with enough inputs to support this, but with this setup, we're still down at 1 to 2 signals. That's 1 if you split the DI, and 2 the actual amplifier / load box cab sim recorded signal. What are the pros of this? Well, you've got real amp tone at bedroom volumes. We're getting a consistent sound because there's no mic placement variability, because in this setup, you're not actually placing a microphone. We're letting the cab simulations do microphone simulation with their built-in impulse responses that capture the sound of the cabinet through a specific type of microphone. This is another good option for layering tones quietly, but this time with real amplifiers. What are the cons of this setup? Well, load boxes can be a bit pricey, not to mention real amplifier heads can also be pricey. Cabinet simulations, you'll find, have varying levels of realism, or you just might like some better than others. And like I said before, you might want to explore the options between built-in cab sims that are on load box products with the cab sims that are available inside the computer. You can even get IRs and cab sims directly from companies like Celestion, who makes real amplifier speakers. For many modern guitarists, this hits the sweet spot. You got the warmth of analog gear, but the convenience of digital control. And our
Level 4
is a full hybrid guitar studio. This means we've got real amplifiers, real cabinets, and I'm going to add in reamping, right? What is reamping? That's when you take your DI signal and you send it out through a special box that converts the impedance of the electrical signal so that it can go into an amplifier after the fact. Okay, so that means I have a DI signal, it's got no amp on it, and then I decide later what the amplifier is going to be. Maybe I recorded on one day my DI plus an amplifier, and then I decide, you know what, that same part that I recorded would sound better or just be augmented by an additional or different amplifier. That's when the reamp comes in. You can send that DI signal out of your interface into the reamp box and then into an amplifier, and then maybe mic a cabinet and re-record what's already been recorded through your preferred amp. So picture this, you've got a control room, and somewhere else, isolated from the sound in the control room, is a bunch of guitar cabinets already mic'd up with their mics routed into your audio interface, perhaps even a patch bay in your control room so that you can control what amplifier you're utilizing without even being where your amplifiers are. They just have to be on, and then you can change the routing. This way we can record a DI track. We can record any amplifier and any real cabinet all at once. Or we could decide to reamp something later through a different cabinet. So here we need all the gear from levels 1 through 3, plus cabinets, plus multiple mics, and make sure that your audio interface now has even more inputs, as many inputs as you want in order to accommodate the different microphones plus a DI. So this does require that you have some sort of isolation, a reamp box, a patch bay, or some sort of routing setup. So what are the pros? We've got ultimate flexibility in sound quality. We've got a real amplifier feel plus DI options. You can reamp, you can layer tones, and switch setups fast. What are the cons of this? Well, It requires space and planning. It's the most expensive of all the setups, obviously, to build, and it involves more complex signal routing. So if you're new to the engineering side of this, it can be more confusing and easier to make mistakes. But if you get it right once and you set up some sort of template for your studio specifically, you can make the workflow easier. So those are my 4 levels of electric guitar setups. Now you'll notice that there's a DI included in all of these. Now I always like recording a DI along with an amp tone because I like to have options, and so I see no harm in splitting that signal anytime you can with the DI box that has the through. Even if you're not planning on reamping, I always like to get a DI signal because you can use virtual amps and blend it with your real tones. So what did I miss? Guitarists, let me know. If you're planning a studio, what are you thinking it's going to look like? Did I hit upon some of the things that you were considering for your home studio? If you're an electric guitar player, we'll come back and do an acoustic guitar video another time. But for now, I want to say thank you for watching Sound Better Slider. Hit the like and the subscribe if you had fun during this video.
Please subscribe, it keeps the channel alive.
And let me know your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.
Sign up for the newsletter. It's not spam, it's way, way better.